The throne room of Vexthera Prime stretched across half a kilometer of polished obsidian, its vaulted ceiling lost in shadows that seemed to writhe with malevolent purpose. At its center sat the Predator King, Zykoth the Render, his massive form dwarfing the already imposing chair carved from the fossilized remains of his first conquest. 6 arms ended in claws that could slice through starship hulls, while his 4 eyes burned with the cold light of dying stars. The humans, he rumbled, his voice carrying the grinding sound of tectonic plates shifting, have been most disappointing. Ambassador Krell, a reptilian saurid who had served the Predator King for 3 centuries, cowered at the foot of the throne. My lord, they claim their tribute shipment was delayed. Zykoth's laugh was the sound of screaming metal. For 700 years he had ruled this sector of the galaxy through fear and overwhelming force. Every species that dared to travel the void paid tribute or faced extinction. The ethereal collective had offered their children's dreams. The hive minds had surrendered entire planets. The machine consciousnesses had gifted him weapons that could crack moons. But the humans had sent him poetry books and art supplies. Delayed, Zykoth repeated, tasting the word like spoiled meat. They mock me with their weakness. Their homeworld will burn as an example to... The throne room's massive doors groaned open, interrupting his threats. A small delegation approached. 3 humans in simple gray uniforms, walking with the casual confidence of tourists visiting a museum. The lead figure, a woman with steel gray hair and laugh lines around her eyes, stopped just outside the traditional prostration distance. Your Majesty, she said, offering a slight bow that somehow managed to seem both respectful and utterly unafraid. I'm Director Sarah Chen, Human Cultural Exchange Division. We've brought your tribute. Zykoth leaned forward, his massive bulk causing the throne to creak ominously. You dare appear before me with empty hands? Oh, our hands aren't empty, Chen replied, gesturing to her companions. Dr. Martinez here is our finest horror writer, and Captain Volkov specializes in psychological warfare. We've prepared something truly special for you. The Predator King's eyes narrowed. Horror writer, psychological warfare. These concepts translated poorly into his language, carrying connotations of weakness and mental frailty. Speak plainly. Meet. What tribute do you offer? Chen smiled, and something in that expression made Ambassador Krell take an involuntary step backward. Stories, Your Majesty. Humans have a unique gift for crafting narratives that can reshape reality itself. We thought you might enjoy our darker tales. Dr. Martinez stepped forward, producing a small device. With your permission, I'd like to share a story called The Thing in the Deep Dark. It's about a creature that ruled the spaces between stars until something worse found it. Zykoth's laugh was dismissive. You offer me children's tales? I have devoured the flesh of gods and worn the screams of the dying as armor. What could your pathetic species possibly? The device activated, and Dr. Martinez began to speak. The story he told was unlike anything in the Predator King's experience. It wasn't the crude mythology of conquest and dominance that filled the libraries of his empire. This was something else entirely, a precisely crafted narrative that wormed its way into the listener's mind like a living thing, building layers of dread with surgical precision. As Martinez spoke, the shadows in the throne room seemed to deepen, and Zykoth found himself genuinely listening. The story was about power, yes, but not the simple, brutal power he understood. It was about the power of the unknown, the terror of realizing that no matter how mighty you became, there was always something worse lurking in the dark. The tale concluded with the cosmic horror's destruction, not through violence, but through the slow, inexorable realization that it had never been the apex predator it believed itself to be. The throne room fell silent. Zykoth sat motionless for several long moments, his 4 eyes unfocused. Interesting, he said finally, though his voice lacked its earlier confidence. Continue. Captain Volkov stepped forward. This next piece is called The Last Day of the Tyrant King. It's about a ruler who conquered everything he could see, only to discover that true power lies not in what you can destroy, but in what you cannot escape. 3 hours later, the human delegation departed, leaving behind a collection of data tablets containing thousands of carefully selected stories. They had given the Predator King exactly what he'd demanded, tribute worthy of his power. In the days that followed, Zikoth found himself returning to the stories again and again. Sleep became elusive as narratives of cosmic horror and psychological dread played through his mind. Dreams that had once been filled with memories of conquest now featured shadowy figures that spoke in whispers of futures he could not control. The other species of the sector began to notice changes in their overlord. His demands for tribute became sporadic and half-hearted. His threats lacked their former venom. Reports filtered in of the Predator King spending days at a time in his private chambers reading. Ambassador Krell, growing bold, finally asked his master directly, "My lord, what exactly did the humans give you?" Zikoth looked up from a tablet displaying a story about a king who realized too late that his crown was made of his own fears given form. His 4 eyes were hollow, haunted. "They gave me perspective, Krell," he said quietly. "They showed me that there are worse things than being conquered. Being understood, for instance, or worse still, understanding yourself." 3 months later, the Predator King abdicated his throne and departed for the Rim territories, seeking, he claimed, stories that haven't been told yet. His empire collapsed within a year, but strangely, most of its member species found themselves better off than they had been under his rule. The Human Cultural Exchange Division received a medal for their innovative approach to diplomacy. Director Chen framed it next to a simple thank you note written in careful standard Galactic. "Dear humans, thank you for the nightmares. They were exactly what I needed. I finally understand why you don't fear the dark. You've learned to make friends with the things that live there. Respectfully, Zikoth the Dreamer, formerly the Render." The note was accompanied by a small collection of stories written by the former Predator King himself, dark tales of tyranny and redemption that the humans found surprisingly insightful. They added them to their archives, where they joined thousands of other stories that proved the same fundamental truth. Sometimes the mightiest weapon is the one that transforms rather than destroys. And sometimes the greatest gift you can give a monster is the chance to dream of being something else.